know, we got a lot of dead space on television.
Yes.
And we want folks to come on who are positive and can talk to folks directly, and you do that.
Thank you.
So it's a pleasure to be here, and for those of you who are just tuning in, this isn't the presidential debate.
That's right.
Not Barack, and
That's
I'm
right.
not Mitt, although that would make a great science fiction movie. Two guys suddenly fill in for those guys.
Absolutely.
But here we are, just two human beings.
Two human beings having a good time. And what I want to do, Dave had, he found an article on Wikipedia, and it spoke to the definition of science fiction. And even though we all have our own perception of what science fiction is, it's kind of our own interpretation, somewhat informal. And it was a little more professional sounding, a little more in depth. There were several pages, and he took some notes. So I wanted to give Dave an opportunity to kind of read a few things that he had jotted down from that article to kind of set up the remainder of the show and set up the tone for the show. So Dave, if you can do that.
Sure.
Okay.
You know, most of us have watched sci-fi, and you know, it's a genre of fiction dealing with supposedly an imaginary future. And in that future, they deal with such things as advanced science and technology, space travel, parallel universes, aliens, other dimensions, and time travel. Those are just a few of the things that make up science fiction. And then in that time travel, they can go back into the past too. Now, ultimately, really, sci-fi explores the human condition and often mirrors back from the future our current situation today with possible consequences and possible solutions. Sci-fi is the impossible and improbable made possible. And from a historical viewpoint, some people consider Frankenstein, written in 1818 by Mary Shelley, as the first sci-fi fiction story. Later, in War of the Worlds, written in 1898 by H.G. Wells, is another classic sci-fi story that has been made several times into movies, the latest by Steven Spielberg a few years ago. And there's lots of subgenres of sci-fi. There's hard sci-fi, in which they pay a lot of attention to accurate scientific details, such as 2001: A Space Odyssey. Then we have soft sci-fi, which focuses on psychology, economics, political science. A book such as George Orwell's 1984 would be indicative of that genre. We have the time travelers, such as The Time Machine, written by H.G. Wells, and again made into a movie several times. We have military sci-fi, a good example being Starship Troopers. And then we have the apocalyptic end of civilization sci-fi, and several of the movies that we're going to take a look at tonight encompass that apocalyptic end of civilization, as well as some of the other elements. So that's pretty much what sci-fi is.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.
That was an awesome introduction. I didn't expect that. We're going to keep on talking because we're going to flow in a minute to The Terminator. My man Frank D is going to shoot to that classic film that we've all seen, and it's had several different versions, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And we're going to speak on that in a second. And but again, Dave, that was an incredible introduction, man. That was good stuff.
Oh, well, we got more. We got
yes,
more
indeed.
now.
Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. All right.
All right, here we go with The Terminator.
Here we go.
my turn. Hey. Come on. Hey. What's wrong with this picture? Nice night for a walk, eh?
Nice night for a walk.
Wash day tomorrow. Nothing clean, right?
Nothing clean, right?
Hey, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
Your clothes. Give them to me, now.
Oh.
And that was a classic excerpt from the first Terminator, where Arnold's character first lands in this realm of existence because apparently he was from the future. And Dave spoke to that. He was talking about time travel being one issue that's not uncommonly featured in these types of films, science fiction. And so, you know, he was trying to get some clothes because when he came through, he was naked.
When a naked man, a big naked man approaches you, I say give up your clothes.
Quickly.
Well, you know, in the near future, the Terminator, in the near future, an artificial intelligence network, a big corporation actually called Skynet, becomes self-aware and initiates a nuclear holocaust of mankind. Now that gets back to our apocalyptic end of civilization. So that's one point we want to remember. There's a nuclear holocaust that's initiated. The Terminator, Arnold, who's a cyborg assassin, who's sent back from 2029 to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, who's the future mother of John Connor, who will lead the resistance in 2029 against Skynet. And so Sarah's yet unborn son, John, will rally survivors against Skynet with the humans, and the humans are on the verge of victory in 2029. So Skynet sends the Terminator back in time to kill John Connor's mother before he is born, so there will be no resistance. So there are some particularly, I think, salient issues going on here. First of all, of course, as we say, they paint a future in which there's been a nuclear holocaust, and that's a recurring theme throughout a lot of sci-fi movies. We also have man versus machine.
Yes.
And in the classic sense, it's kind of like David and Goliath.
Yes.
You know, the guy who opposes Arnold is David, and Arnold, of course, Goliath, is a combination of a human and a machine. And we also have the issue of computers that think and eventually take over the world away from human beings. And, you know, if we look at what's going on today, we could be on the verge of nuclear war.
Right.
With, the United States and Israel opposing Iran. We do have issues we already have computers that think.
Right.
Who knows if they're making decisions right now?
True.
You know? So all of this, the things that are shown in the Terminator are coming true.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the amazing part about sci-fi. And when I was a kid growing up, I remember I used to look at a comic strip called Dick Tracy.
Yes.
And Dick Tracy had this little watch on that had a little TV screen in it.
Right.
Well, here we go, folks. Here it is. We go from science fiction to reality, to new science fiction, to new reality.
That's it.
And it keeps changing. So that's why I think the Terminator, which was not expected to be a hit movie, really took off because it hit a lot of important subjects that people could relate to. Again, it's the mirroring effect.
Right.
Holding up the mirror saying, what's going on?
Right.
Here's what's going on, and it's going on today.
That's right. That's right.
All right, brother.
Wow, man. You know what? I don't even want to add to that. You know, I was thinking about giving some of my viewpoints, but I mean, you were so thorough. I like what you said, man. I don't know if I can add to that. Matter of fact, I won't. We will go to the, get my man Frank to shoot to the next video excerpt, Close Encounters. And we're going to talk about that afterwards. Some technical difficulties. Frank, are you able to go back and resume that, or should we just continue? Keep on. We'll keep on flowing. So this is again one of the movies. What Dave and I did, he had identified like 4 different films and excerpts that he really wanted to focus on, and I had like my 4. So you'll notice there are certain ones that I'll kind of fall back and let him do more discussing, because those are really the ones that he really resonated with, and vice versa. Certain films that I really resonated with and I really want to speak to those, but that doesn't mean that I won't contribute to some of the ones and vice versa. He's certainly open to elaborate on something that I said. But let's shoot to this, man. Now, what do you think about that?
Well, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, of course, is a Steven Spielberg movie, and it came out in 1977. And one of the things I forgot to say about the Terminator is the Terminator came out in 1984. I just want to mention this because a couple of the movies that we're reviewing, Close Encounters and Contact, came out during Democratic administrations. And Terminator, Blade Runner, and They Live came out during Republican administrations. That's where the aliens are more evil and corrupt, whereas the ones that come out of the Democratic administrations are kind of benign, and maybe they're going to be helpful to us.
Right.
So anyway, what we got, of course, is human beings and begin having contact with aliens in Close Encounters. A man who, the lead character, Richard Dreyfuss, who was a repairman for the electric company, has a close encounter. And it affects him so greatly that he winds up leaving his family, and he winds up going to this secret military base, which is the Devil's Tower in Montana, where scientists under the UN are attempting to contact extraterrestrials. So what that says to me is that the elites have known for a long time about aliens and extraterrestrials and their contact with human beings, but they want to keep the rest of us in the dark about it so they can control that information. And what's also exciting, and I think, Afi, you'll speak more to this, but when the mothership lands, when they're trying to make contact with it, how they make